Hi, peaceful thinkers. Welcome again to my channel. My name is Obinene, and this is Onene's Thoughts. So today, I have my friend here, and we'll be discussing our experiences regarding pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum in the UK and in Canada.
Hello everyone. My name is Olanike Solomon, and as Onene has said, you're welcome to our channel. And we'll be discussing everything she has mentioned. So if you know someone who would benefit from this, do well to share this video with them. And don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and as well share. Share and keep resharing. And make sure you watch till the end. Okay? So we have a list of questions that we've put together, and we'll be sharing our experiences based on this question, comparing the UK to Canada, having a child in the UK, being pregnant, having a child, and postpartum recovery as well. Yeah, so I'll be sure I am based in the United Kingdom, and
I'm
Nene
in
is
Canada.
Canada. Yeah. So we're sharing our experiences. And the first question we have here is, how does prenatal care differ to UK and Canada? So I'll just quickly share my experience. Prenatal care is just basically after we've had I'll be sharing based on my experience. After I found out I was pregnant, I informed my midwife and I said hospital visits. Like I started seeing my midwife from time to time. She'll give me an appointment and I'll go see her. She'll check me, she'll check baby, she'll check the heartbeat is intact and all of that. Yeah, so that was just it basically for the UK. So let's hear from Nene in Canada.
Okay, yeah, in Canada, when I came in, I actually didn't know I was pregnant. So, but when I realized I was pregnant, I went to the hospital because we have what we call the family doctor. Compared to UK, it's called GP. Here it's
Yes.
family doctor. So we
Mm-hmm.
registered with our family doctor, and they did the blood test, did everything, went for scan and all that. So I was seeing the family doctor for a period of time before I was
Okay.
moved to seeing the OB-GYN.
Mm-hmm.
Here, the midwife is, I think midwife, you have to, it's a special service. Midwifery is a special service, so you may have to pay for it. So, but we have OB-GYN that's covered by the insurance. So that was where I went, and then, just like the UK, we kept doing the follow-ups and all that.
Okay, so that's one difference. We don't have OB-GYN here. Maybe I know there are gynecologists, but we don't get to see them if it's not like a special condition, if mom is not in any needs any extra support. It's usually the midwife that you see from start till finish. Okay, so the next one is, how frequent is is it to like visit the hospital? Is it weekly? Is it how frequent is it in Canada to see your gynae? How frequent when you're pregnant?
So initially, when I started seeing the gynae, it was monthly, then it
Mhm.
reduced to every 2 weeks, and then it became weekly until the baby came.
Yeah, so it's practically the same thing as well here in the
Yes.
UK. Seeing the midwife is the same thing as well. Okay, so the next one on the list is what are the costs involved in pregnancy care in the UK and in Canada? So I would say for the UK, there is practically nothing you are paying for you to have your child in the UK. I'll say you've paid it with your IHS. When coming into the country, you have to pay your for IHS and all of that. So it's been added into your IHS fee. Everything you need to pay has been added. So when you're having your baby, you don't need to pay any. You don't need to pay for anything. Well, for me, I didn't need to have any maybe special treatments that needed a special surgery or anything. But basically, standard or depending on the visa you are on. I was on a student visa when I had my child and I didn't have to pay, and it applies to every other person as well. So how is it in Canada? Do you have to pay to have your baby?
No, I didn't have to pay, and then I will speak for myself, like I said. I am currently in Ontario, And so some people in other parts of Canada may have different experience. Okay, so here in Ontario, we have something related to IHS, is the OHIP that is covered. It's just like the IHS, but then it's for people in Ontario, the Ontario Health Insurance Program. So I didn't have to pay anything from visiting the gynae to delivery, nothing. The only difference there is my husband's place of work, there is this insurance that he has. So I was able to upgrade my bed. So instead of the
Oh,
normal standard bed that there'll be four women in a room, so I
yeah.
upgraded to the one of just two. So I could have still upgraded to a private room if I wanted, but I
Mm.
upgraded to the one that's semi-private. So it's called semi-private, just me and another woman, just for a bit of closure. So that's the only thing. And then that one was covered by his company, but in all, we didn't pay anything.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Okay, there may be something like that as well in the UK, but I don't know much about that. I didn't have to do any upgrade or anything, and I didn't have to pay for anything as well. The next one is, how do cultural attitude towards pregnancy differ from the UK and Canada? Nene has been in the UK before she moved to Canada, so she'll be able to tell us if there are any differences. But from my own experience, having my child in the UK, the thing that I noticed is that people will treat you nicely. You don't stay on the queue for too long. If you need to stay on the queue, like they'll give you priority if you're on the queue. And then at work as well, they carried out a workplace assessment for me to be sure that, okay, I'm fit to work, and if I needed any extra support at work. So that's one thing I know that I liked about being pregnant in the UK. Like, they'll really treat you special, and they'll, because they prioritize your health and that of the baby. So Nene, over to you.
Okay, I think it's similar. It's similar because, when they see a pregnant woman, everybody wants to care for you. Everybody wants to help you carry your bag, wants to help you in the grocery store. Are you okay? Are you doing fine? Do you need help? And I would say generally that Canadians are really, really kind, like really, really kind. While I was in the UK, there was a time I got on a bus and I was coming back from the hospital from my normal check. Then the medication I was given, it sort of poured on the bus. And, a lot of people stood up and they started helping me pick up another old people. I felt so loved. I can never forget that day because I felt so loved.
Oh,
So but then compared to Canada, it's the same thing, the care, the support and all that, the workplace stuff that you mentioned, the same thing. Then in Canada, I entered buses for free when I was pregnant. That one was something that, yes, I entered buses for free. The moment I enter and I have my card, I want to tap, the person will just be like, driver will just be like, go. And we have mostly female drivers here. They tell you,
oh,
just go, just go, just go, So it's the same basically.
but that's a difference, and it's a big difference. In the UK, you pay for your bus, or you pay your bus fare, even if you are pregnant.
But then I don't know if
UK
other
bus
people
drivers.
paid, but then for me, I didn't pay.
Oh, nice. I never experienced that in the UK. And UK bus drivers are not that nice for you not to pay for your bus fare. Okay. What kind of government or community support is available during pregnancy and childbirth in both countries? So for the UK, government benefits, well, for if you're on a student's visa, I was on a student's visa when I had my child, so I wasn't entitled to public fund. So I did even make inquiries about any government benefits. Maybe this would apply to people who already have settled status in the United Kingdom. But other benefits I would say is that when I went for my hospital visit, my midwife would give me pregnant care for free at the center where I went. So I had that. Like, I had a lot of supply of pregnant care, and I think there was another multivitamin that was given. I can't remember now, but I know that pregnant care was really consistent. So yeah, so that's it for the UK.
So regarding
Yeah.
the community support and everything, I think it may be better in the UK because here you pay for your prescriptions. The only reason you will not pay is if you have maybe an additional workplace insurance that can cover a part of it, but you will still pay some percentage, even if it's tax. You might have to pay for that, so it's not free.
All right, so we'll be moving now to the next segment, which is childcare and delivery. It's who typically assists during childbirth in both countries. So for the UK, I think I had all hands on deck at the delivery room. Everyone was the doctor, the midwife, the healthcare assistant, the whoever, everybody that was meant to be in the room was practically there. And for me, it was a culture shock. Although I've not had a baby before, it was my first time. But from previous experiences from my sister, my siblings, what we watch in the movies, like we don't really have. I have never seen like a complete team like that. So it was really shocking to me that everyone was well, and they were all at alert. Like they were all at alert. So yes, that's one thing that came as a culture shock to me. So everyone is on ground. That's for the UK. So how is it when you had your baby in Canada?
Yes, it's the same thing. This one is the same thing, and it's a lot of it gives us this kind of relief knowing that nothing can go wrong. Everybody's there.
With
Like you mentioned, the
mm-hmm.
midwife, and they introduce themselves, they tell you what they're coming to do, what they are, who they are, how they will help you and all that. So everybody was there. So for this one, I'll say it's the same thing.
The same thing. Okay. So the next question is, are epidural or other form of pain relief readily available in both countries? So for the UK, yes. Before I had my baby, I was told the different types of pain relief that was available, and I was told to pick whichever I was comfortable with, and I was also offered epidural at the delivery ward, and I was told to sign a document just to make sure that I consented to it being given to me, which I did. Yeah, so there are different forms of pain relief that they would offer to you, and they would tell you their side effect as well. Before I was being given the epidural, the doctor told me the side effects, and he told me the percentage that may occur if anything goes wrong. Like in 100 women, it could be maybe 1 out of 100 that something may go wrong and all of that. That's just like a scenario. And yes, so that's it for the UK. That's my own experience for the UK. How about you, Nene?
Okay, so in Canada, it's similar. They will tell you what is available, the help available, if you want to go with it or not. And like you said, you consent to them. But then I had a cesarean session, so I had a cesarean birth, so I had they put that pin inside. I think that pin is also the epidural, right? That is the
The
epidural. So
yeah.
so
I
it
think the pin, the needle is what they use to pass the medication into the spinal cord.
exactly. So that one is a constant. It must happen. But then I have this friend in my church that had a vaginal birth, and she said it was when the pain was, so getting too much. She was calling for it and all that. So it's basically the same thing. Just depends on who is on the person in question.
So we are moving to the segment of postpartum care after baby has arrived. What postpartum care is made available by the healthcare system or by the government in Canada?
I will say it's for free because it's my own experience that UK postpartum care is top notch, a lot better than I experienced here. In the
Mm.
UK, there are midwives that will come to your homes until maybe after the baby gets to some number of weeks, and then you have these health visitors coming even before you have the child. But here, nothing like that. It's just me and my OB-GYN. Even when I came home, I was from the hospital. I already signed that okay, I wanted a nurse to come and visit. I came home and the nurse came. The day she came, it was as if no, they forced her to come. She was just sitting, sitting on her own, asking me question from a distance.
Really?
Then she was just interested in, is your husband home? I said, he's not home. Are you being maltreated? Do you need help for anything? Are you and your children okay? I was like, madam, I'm experiencing lactation concerns. Help me here. She was like, okay, for that one, you need to book with a lactation consultant and all that. So, no, no, UK beat them hands down for that one. And I will say it with my full chest.
Wow, 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 wow. Well, in the UK, it's not like that, as you said. They will pamper you right from the hospital. In fact, from my own experience, it was after the same day I had my baby, a nurse was already teaching me how to like properly carry my baby and how to put him to breast, right? Like
Yeah.
how to do it. And when I did it at first, I wasn't getting it. She said, okay, I shouldn't worry, that she's still going to send someone. So she sent someone else to stay with me to put me through. Like they'll really pamper you. And even after you leave the hospital as well, just as you mentioned, midwives will come, they'll check you, they'll check baby, and well, and health visitors will come from time to time. In fact, it's even they'll come frequently until baby clocks 1,
Yes,
then they'll
exactly.
stop coming, and then when baby is almost 2, or after baby is 2, they'll visit again, because I my baby turned 2 few months ago, last month rather. My baby turned 2 last month, and he already has an appointment with
Hmm.
his health visitor. So it is really like they support you a lot here. They support you. And aside that, even if you've had baby and you are home and you just need support, you can just call them up. And if there's anybody in your area, they'll send someone to come check you as well. And
Exactly.
they'll provide you with like community hubs around you, like family hubs around you, that you can go and meet with other moms and have time with other babies as well. So they're doing well in the UK in respect to that.
Well, I'll just add that for the family hub, yes, there's family hub here where you can meet and all that. But then anything medical, they just hand you over to your family doctor. That's okay. I've done our own part to your tent to Israel.
Yeah, I can imagine. And being a first time mom, it can
Imagine.
be you already had a baby before, so you might know what to do, but I can imagine a
Yes,
first time mom.
that's my
And
point.
if she
That's where
doesn't
I'm bringing it from.
yeah, I get. Yeah, I think this question you already answered it in a way. Are mothers provided with lactation consultants or breastfeeding supports in Canada?
Yes, they are, but then you have to call them, book appointments yourself. You do the work yourself. It's not like it's readily available. You will need to book
Okay.
the appointments yourself.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so for the UK, just as I mentioned, they'll support you from the hospital, and if you need additional support, you can reach out to them and they would support you as well. And one thing I've noticed, I think it should be common with both countries, is that they'll always refer you to the NHS website where um there's a
Spot
blog.
on. You read and watch videos.
So you have to read. So after you've read and you don't understand, then you can call them. Because even when you call them, they'll ask you, have you read
Thank
this is
you.
so and
It's the
so?
same here.
So yeah, they have a lot of will I say digital support that you if you need blogs that answers questions that has answered different questions that have been asked. So yeah.
Yes.
We're moving very quickly now to childcare and parenting. So what maternity policy applies in Canada?
Here in Canada, for you to qualify for the maternity pay, so it's called the EI, that's the employment insurance, because most companies don't pay. It's the government that pay you um from the tax they've taken from you. So you have to work at least 600 hours before you will qualify for that. So once you've worked those hours, you can now apply, and then they will contact your company, your employer, to send one or two forms, and then just to confirm that you actually have done those hours. and then the pay you are having, how much you've remitted to the system. So that's what we use to calculate how much they'll be giving you. So that Mrs. A may not be collecting the same amount as Mrs. B, depending on the amount they've put in for insurance, on tax, sorry, depending on the amount they put in tax, and depending on the number of hours that they've worked. So for me,
Oh,
I made sure that I worked because when I got the job, it was like I got a job in June and I was having my baby in November. So I knew that I needed to work at least 4 months back to back. So I had to take some extra hours to be able to meet up. So when I met the threshold, I think I worked like 750 in all. So just to be sure that even if they want to minus add anything, I will still fall on 600. So that was it. So now I'm currently on maternity leave and I'm on maternity benefit for 1 year. So some people can take 1.5 years, that's 18 months. So if you take 18 months, the money may be may be reduced at some point. But if you are taking 1 year, it's the same amount they start paying you from the beginning that they pay you to the end. So yeah.
oh,
And then for fathers, they only have like 2 weeks parental leave. It's the same way, but then they'll have to share the money between the man and the woman. So
oh,
yes,
okay, okay, nice. I think it's almost the same thing as well in the UK. So for the UK, before you can be entitled to maternity leave, you have to have worked 6 months. You have to have been in the UK and worked for 6 months before you are entitled. And unlike Canada, where it's more of the government that pays, right? As you said, here in the UK, your employer can either pay you or the government pays you. So if you've not worked to a certain if you've not worked a certain number of hours with your employer, they may choose not to pay and then they'll refer you to the government. So the government will pay. And yeah, so during my own case, when I had my baby, or when before I had my baby, I was working with an agency, and so they were not ready to pay. So they referred me to the government and I got my maternity pay from the government. And as well, similar to Canada, you can take a maternity leave for as long as a year, but
yes.
you get paid for 9 months, right? Was that your situation as well when you're in the UK?
In the UK, I didn't qualify because I came in when I was already 26 weeks pregnant. So I got a job in December, and then I gave birth in January. So I didn't meet up. So I didn't enjoy maternity benefits in the
Oh,
UK.
benefits. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, so that's it. You have to have worked a period of time for a certain number of hours before you are entitled. So it's almost the same thing as well
Yes.
um with Canada. Okay, and one thing again I'll add as well to that is that when you're on maternity leave, you are when you have your baby, you're entitled to free dental care for 1 year for both mom and baby in the UK. So yeah, so that's one thing as well to note if you are a first time mom or you
In
plan
the
to have your
UK.
baby in the UK. That's as well. So let's talk about childcare. Like, what is it like to pay? Do you pay for childcare? Let's start with that. In Canada, do you pay for childcare if you have to put your baby in, maybe with a childminder, or your baby? What age does your baby start school, and do you have to pay for that as well?
Okay. For childcare, I think is the interesting part. Why I kind of like, oh no, Canada BTK on this one, hands down, is that the childcare is not free, but then there are some people that may have it free if the household income is very small. If the household income is small,
Okay.
you be entitled to free childcare, or maybe subsidized in a way by the government. So they'll check your income and your husband's income to see if that's the case. And then if you are a student, not on student visa, maybe you are going to school and then you have some sort of you have you are a low income family, then you might have a period of subsidized childcare. So when we came in as permanent residents, but then I still enrolled in a college that I was schooling like remotely. Then I was working. So I put those two I put those two facts or points up to them, then they saw that our income was still a little lower than what was expected, and then we enjoyed free childcare for a while. Even the money we paid at
Okay.
some point was refunded because
Oh,
we
nice.
when we first came, yes, when we first came, we were already paying, but then the by the time we applied for that free one, it's only 1 month that we lost, but then the other 2 months were refunded because it didn't cover the time it covered the time we applied. And then
Okay.
there's home care. There's this home daycare where you take your child to, and it's just maximum of 6 children in the house. So that's
Wow.
what my son currently goes. That's where my son currently goes because the one that is normal school, like a proper daycare, is quite expensive, and
Okay.
those ones may not accept. They may not be qualified. They may not qualify for those subsidy and all those. But then I prefer the home daycare because it's just 6 children, and I can talk to the carer, tell her what I want, I mean, they're able to monitor my child like closely compared to the one that you see 20 children in a place. And just like UK, child has to be up to 4 years before they start school. Okay.
Oh,
Yes, they have to be up to 4 years. Like my son will be 4 in January, but he's not able to start till September because he's a January born. You get so children that are born maybe August and after September may be able to start, earlier in that September. And also there's child benefits
okay.
because of our status as citizens or permanent residents, you get child benefit. So it is calculated annually. Currently, I think it's about 6,000 plus annually. I don't want to give a wrong figure, so it's about 6,000 annually. So they operate it monthly. The more your children, the more money you get,
Wow.
right? So if you want to be giving birth, all the best. So the more your children, the more money you get. But then that's for children under 6. So from
Okay.
6 to 17, the amount reduces. So maybe it will reduce from about 650 to about 500 and something per child per month. You understand? So, but then there's a clause. The clause is household income. If your income is above a particular threshold, you will not be qualified. So it's not everybody in Canada that receives childcare benefits. It depends on the household income. So imagine that you're earning about 200,000 household, you may not be qualifying for that. So, but generally, children under 0 to 6, they get up to 6,000 in a year from the government,
Yeah.
from Canada itself, that's CCB. And then the province you are in may now add maybe like $50, $100 per child. So it may now bring it up to about probably 700 every month per child. So it depends. That one depends on the province, but the one that the government is giving, the government of Canada is about 6,000. So that's it.
Oh, wow. Wow. I was going to ask if everyone is entitled to it, but you already answered that it depends on your household income.
Yes, and
But a
also
lot.
visa status. People that are children that are on student visa may not be entitled to childcare
That
benefits.
is,
But
so
then there's
yeah,
the
I think
good
it's
part of it also. Oh, sorry. The good part of that also, maybe when they upgrade from temporary to permanent resident, they may be qualified for a backdated amount. So
oh
yeah,
I
it depends on when, yes, it depends on when they get it. So there are a lot of permutation that is put into it, a lot of permutation.
oh I see. That makes sense. In the UK, as you know, childcare is one of like the biggest challenges that we experience or we face as parents in the UK because it's not cheap. It's not cheap. As I said, a child cannot start school until they are like proper schooling until they are 4. And that's it as well here in the UK. So childcare is really expensive. If you want your toddler to go to attend nursery before they are 4, you have to pay for it. And it's not cheap. It depends on where you are. You can pay as high as 50 something pounds per day, 6 something pounds per day depending on the area that you are. So not that is a very good difference
Yeah.
between Canada and UK, because child benefits would be categorized under public funds, so we are not entitled to that if you're not citizen. Okay, that's really interesting, and that's one thing you should look out for if you have plans to relocate to Canada.
Yeah.
What advice would you give a new mom moving to Canada?
The advice I'll give a new mom moving to Canada is, hey, any help you can get, accept it. See, if you can import your help from Nigeria, please import that help. If you know that you have neighbors that can help, help and receive
Mhm.
that help, because you will need it. Don't think you can do it on your own. You will need that help, and do not reject help. Like me, when I was in the UK, I made sure that I utilized all the help available from church members, from neighbors, from friends, and all that. And then at some point, my mother-in-law came in, so the help was there. But then in Canada, we couldn't, process for her because we were just settling in and all that. And then we were then I said that we already have experience. Let's rough, but then we got help from church members and the like. But for a new mom, please utilize all the help and sleep well.
So that tip is my number one tip as well. The advice I'll give any mom moving to the UK, or anyone who is about to be a mom in the UK as well, is to utilize help. As Nene has said, accept, or I made a video on that on my channel. It should go up before this, but and I mentioned as well that when I was pregnant, when I had my baby, one thing I did that worked for me was that I accepted help. I
Yeah.
embraced it with both hands and feet,
Embrace it
because you
all.
cannot do it alone. You can't do life alone, and being a first time mom in a new country, no, you have to accept help. Then one thing I'll add to that is communication. Like, talk, speak up, Soros, okay. Whatever it is that you are feeling, or whatever it is that you are confused about, ask questions. Don't think, I think it should be this. You can't gamble. So I usually say
Yeah.
this, that we can't gamble with parents' lives. We can't say, okay, let me try this out with the first one. If it doesn't work, I'll do it better with the second.
No,
No,
no, no.
it can't work that way. You have to get it right, right? And the way you can get it right is to communicate, is to ask questions in areas where you are confused, areas where you are not sure. Ask people that have had their children before, family members that you know that have had their children before. It's not you comparing your child to their child, or what did your child do?
No.
Maybe my child too will do. No, it's to clarify on certain things that you are not sure about, be it your body,
Exactly.
your health, your baby's body, your baby's health, whatever it is. Communicate, speak up, ask questions as well. Communicate with your spouse, your husband. You cannot do all the house chores alone by
Yeah.
yourself. We know we women, we have all the energy, but you can't do
Superpower.
all that. Superpower. So you have to communicate with your husband, talk out. He can't decipher what it is that you are thinking about if you don't talk. So make sure that you talk as often as you can. All right. So this has brought us to the end of this video. So if you have any questions that you'd like more clarity on, you can drop it in our comments. This video will be going up on Nene's page as well. And it's Nene's.
Yes,
It's also be
yes.
going up on my page at Olanike Solomon. So you can drop your questions in the comment section, and we'll try as much as we can to give answers to them. So if you got here, please drop a comment and drop a question if you have one. And we'll see you in our next video. Bye.
Bye.